Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naira. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So, what is it with some people coming to black content corridors to tell them that white people are not your enemy? Did anybody ask you? Did black people ask you that they want to know who their enemy are or their enemy is? Of course, they know. So, you don't need to remind us that you are not. Because I want to ask you a question. Like you said, you are not. Who are the people? Who are the people calling for black people to come out to protest, even after doing the right thing for everybody? Who are the people? If people want to see black people on the road, right? So that something happens and then we really want to suffer it. Who is the person that has been looking for a way to poke black people to bring them out on the road? Then they can enact martial law. Who is that person? Who is the person that used his nail to unalive George Floyd? Who is the person? Who? See, and who is the people? Who are those people that are on the road? Those police that are always looking for a way to call black young boys that they look like the description. Who are they? You want to tell me who the enemy is? Did we ask you? Did anybody ask you? Nobody asked you. And please, enough of coming on black people's connect corridors, black connect corridors to tell us that you are the good person. This was one of the reasons why you all wanted blue bracelet and pink hat. Please, can you cut that? Cut it. Let's get into this video.
Okay, first thing first, when you come into a so-called black space, the first thing that you want to do is come with truth. Don't come with your emotions. Come with facts. You say white people are not your enemy. Okay, prove it. Give me one source, one fact in history showing over this last 400 plus years how white people are not the enemy of so-called black people. I'll wait because you're speaking out of emotions and feelings. But this is facts. It's in the Bible. Listen to this. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again." Egypt is synonymous for bondage, captivity, slavery. Okay? With ships. What people went on a ship into slavery? So-called blacks. Everybody know that. Into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it nor no more again. We are still remaining in the captivity that we were in when we came on slave ships over here. Nobody's came and got us. We're actually prisoners of war. Y'all have not let us go. That's why we need passports to leave the country, even though this is, and I know some might want to argue and say this is our homeland. We were already here. Some were here, not all. A lot of so-called blacks came on slave ships to America, but that's not the point. This is the point. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies. The Bible is telling us Israelites, so-called blacks, that we will be sold unto our enemies. So when we got off them slave ships, who were we sold to? Your people, so-called white people. So I'm going to rerun your question or your statement. White people are not your enemy. I beg to differ. The Bible proves you wrong 1,000 times 1,000. It proves you wrong. It says, "And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen, slave men, and bondwoman, slave woman, and no man shall buy you." Who came and redeemed us? Last time I checked, we're still here as prisoners of war. So don't come speaking emotion, come with facts. Of course you are. If you weren't, why is it that your people shoot down my people in the middle of the street and go off not guilty? Why is that they getting ready to acquit? If y'all are not the enemies of so-called blacks, explain why Derek Chauvin, the officer who put his knee on George Floyd's neck, is getting ready to be acquitted. Make it make sense. Explain why the so-called black man is 3/5 of a man. He's not even a whole man. Only an enemy has done this. They getting ready to acquit him. They getting ready to let him off. See, and that's scriptural too. Zechariah 11:5. Whose oppressors slay you, who slay us, and then hold themselves not guilty. A friend doesn't do things like that. An enemy does things like that. And we can go on and on and on of the things that y'all have done to so-called black folks for the last 400 plus years. To come on here and make that statement is pretty bold. You got to be living under a rock somewhere. Of course you are. The Bible even tells us you are our enemy. We are who you was, so-called blacks was sold to whites. But the Bible is telling us that you are our enemy, and that's why y'all continue to do the things that y'all do to us. So next time you decide you want to come into a so-called black space and comment, come with facts. Because at the end of the day, the facts still remain. You guys are, whites are the enemies of so-called blacks. And that's just truth. And I'll end it with this. This is the three holy children. This is in the Apocrypha. Y'all remove this. The Romans, your people, your forefathers removed this from the Bible, which is our history, so that we wouldn't know the truth. But this is the three holy children, 1 and 9. And thou didst deliver us into the hands of the lawless enemies. This is the Most High again declaring that so-called white people are in fact the enemies of so-called black people. To the lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of God, and to an unjust king and the most wicked in all the world. If y'all don't open up this Bible and read and find out who is who, at the end of the day, your biblical God-given nationality is a Edomite. You're Esau. And guess what? Esau hated Jacob. Jacob is the so-called black people. That's our biblical nationality. We're the Israelites. Esau hated Jacob. And he said when he buried his father, he will slay his brother Jacob. And what do you think has been going on for 400 plus years in America? Whites have been slaying blacks and go off not guilty for 400 plus years. If that's not an enemy, somebody please explain to me what an enemy is.
Well, hello there. If you ever want to talk about George Floyd or any other mainstream black trauma, all you gotta do is wait for a non-black person to talk about their stuff. And you say, I'm only focused on black people issues. Oh, you're gonna hear all about how George Floyd was a nigga that died in the streets. And if it wasn't for them out there protesting, we wouldn't be where we are. Which, surprise, we're in the same space, if not worse, because of their voting habits. Nevertheless, you're going to hear a long list of their accomplishments that they did. So apparently, all Hispanics, all Asians, all Native Americans, everybody was out there protesting for us, all of them. And apparently they want something in return, which black people already gave them tenfold. Even though we're going through our own genocide here, they don't give a damn about that. Even though we gave them the voting rights that they used and abused. They don't care about that. They don't care that the fact that Kamala Harris wasn't elected, we are the ones that are affected the most. But you won't hear them say that. Then they're saying, where is she? Well, she was on the ballot, is where she was. Why don't y'all get out there with the white folk and sing, we shall overcome, in an offbeat, off-rhythm falsetto? Why they don't sing somebody else's songs? What are y'all overcoming? There's no soul in the song because there's no soul with the history in it. They don't have no rhythm because they ain't used to having to run away. Do you hear what I'm saying? Apparently, giving people voting and immigration rights through our blood wasn't enough for them. They want us to now fix what they had overturned. And you better say that you hate Kamala. You better say it. Joe Biden, fine. But Kamala, now you're a genocidal maniac. And not just to the non-blacks, Oh, the uppity niggas too. Also, we are not marginalized. Marginalized means pushed off to the fringes of society and nobody pay attention to us. We are the highlight of everybody's lives. We are oppressed. It's even worse than marginalization. You can have oppression without marginalization. Did y'all know that? It's happening. We built this country. Everything was built around our labor. Still is. Stop using these non-black people terms. You know what you are. Oppressed. You're only using marginalized so you can fit in with them peoples. If your issues are overlapping with non-black people, you may want to look around and see what the fuck is going on. Where are you standing at? When you don't get that job, it's not because you're a woman. It's not because you're a black woman. It's because you're black. When you experience ableism, it's not because you're disabled in some type of way or have some type of disability. It's because you're black. That's why you can have a black patient and a white patient, both with the same disability, and that white patient get treated better. It's not ableism. It's because you're black. When you go through homophobia and transphobia outside of the black community, it's not because you're those things. It's because you're black. The other stuff comes later. That black opens you up to worse treatment. When it's attached to something else, sure. But that first one was because of your race. You get no respect as a black person. Nobody comes and respects your culture. Nobody calls our culture beautiful. Have you noticed that? Oh, the Hispanic culture is beautiful. Oh, the Native Americans culture is beautiful. Oh, this Chinese, Japanese, whatever Asian culture is beautiful. But nigga culture, it's never called beautiful. Remember that. Ask one of your BIPOC friends what their favorite part of your culture is. You know what they gonna say? Something about your struggle. Y'all are such a resilient people. I don't want to hear that shit. We gotta be resilient because of you motherfuckers. But ask them though. Just send them a text. And then duet this and let me see that text message. What's your favorite part of black culture? 10 out of fucking 10.
One of the things I'm not going to do is go back and forth with white content creators that are asking, where's Kamala? Or where's Barack Obama? They know exactly where Barack Obama and where Kamala are. They would rather pretend that these black politicians, primarily black politicians, just disappear and they just stop fighting after they lose an election. So the reason why black primarily politicians disappear is because the Democratic Party has a trauma response to how predominantly white voters vote in every single election cycle. If a black politician loses an election that they believe that they were going to win, they want them nowhere near the limelight. They want them away from the limelight, and they start pushing out primarily white and non-black people to the forefront. You see, a lot of these white content creators know this, and they think that they have a gotcha question, but they would rather ignore the fact of how their family members influence the Democratic Party doing this, how the Democratic Party often pushes black politicians to the back because they don't know if they can muster the support from white voters. Van Jones, after the 2016 election, in a CNN roundtable, coined the term white lash when Donald Trump won in 2016. White lash, in his definition, was the response that white voters had to Barack Obama's 2 terms in the White House, where he won twice without winning the white vote. And since 2016, the 2016 election, white voters have voted for Donald Trump, both men and women, 3 times. A lot of these white content creators know this. They get online, they set their cameras up because they want to spark a conversation around something that they already know the answers to, but they don't want to place blame at the feet of who's actually responsible. White people. Because if they were actually serious about answering that question, they would ask the question, why do white people keep voting for regressive politicians that lead to the Democratic Party pushing black politicians when they lose elections to the back burner? But they will never ask that question because they don't want to blame the people that are actually responsible, like their grandparents or their favorite aunt or uncle or sibling or their parent. They would much rather pretend that these black politicians are disappearing simply because they don't care. And they know that that's not what it is. These black politicians disappear because y'all tell them to. Y'all tell them, you show them all the time that you don't want them to represent you. Why do you think when you look at the Democratic and Republican Party, the overwhelming majority of elected officials look like you? They don't look like us because you don't want to see us in your space. That's why these black politicians disappear. So, to summarize, if you want to ask the question seriously of where these black politicians are, ask your community. Ask your community why you didn't vote for them.
This is all I got from this video, and shout out to every one of them who spoke. And something that I am going to say is that the fact that some people really do have so much audacity to come to somebody's post, right, to write some crazy things is just really amazing. Because see how they, like, this actually tells you who they are. Because how do you come to somebody's thing to tell the person that these people are not your enemy? Did anybody ask you? Nobody asked you. Just you went to somebody's comment to also somebody's post to write that. That also explains something, that you are probably the person's enemy, but you are trying to disguise. You are trying to disguise. Like Crystal Black said, that, one thing I know about them is that these people are so ready to start some crazy and wild conversation with you. Like the way they come up to tell you that, during George Floyd, I marched for you. And I have already been saying that comment circulating around when black people or any, they are so quick to tell you that they have really fought for you so bad that during, if not for them, during George Floyd, they're saying that they all came out to speak up. And somebody was like, oh yeah, also we have also been out for Palestinian. Like, what does that got to do with black people? What does that got to do with black people? Like I explained in my previous video that you people, these people do not know what they are doing for themselves, especially the ones that came out during George Floyd's period. At that time, something happened to protest. I want you to know that you were actually protesting for yourselves, not even for my own people too. Because majority of the people that are out there doing those things that they do are who? They are your husbands and your brothers and your cousins. So coming out to protest is you are actually looking for a way to stop them so they won't harm you. So you actually did not do it for us. And I am going to ask, what is it with your uncles, your brothers and your husband, the cops? What is it with them and black people? Like, does it mean that they are not catching other people, especially your circle, your communities? And why? Wait, okay. I am just going to relax because this question might lead me to somewhere I do not want to be. But yes, ask them what is their problem with the young black boys, young black men, that when they see them, their eyes pop. They want to start asking questions. And then they tase you without even seeing anything on you. And then probably end up PPing you because you probably might look like the description, because we always look like the description. You're coming to tell black people that you all are not their enemies. Who are the people imposing all these things going on so far? Since this regime started, I can count how many things that they have done to see people that look like me outside. And you tell me that you all are not enemies. You also a qualified person that you are supposed to vote for. You decided to vote for someone that is not qualified enough. And you tell me that you're not our enemy. So, I don't know why, but man, this is really funny. Can you people just chill? The reality is that black people are not asking you to come and save them or come and do something. But enough of all these comments. Stop coming out to drop all these comments, because black people know where their problems are coming from. They know. They don't even need you to come and tell them that you are the good person or not. That's why after election, you all decided, like every one of you decided to come with blue bracelet and pink hat. Like, who are you trying to deceive? Like, if I see you on the road with a blue bracelet or a pink hat, right? I automatically will know that you did not vote for this man. You must really be the greatest liar of all time, because you all lie so much. So how am I supposed to trust you that you are the good one? There is no good one as long as I am concerned. Not until prove it, like, I don't know, but not until, but like the way you all tell us, there are always some people to tell us like all Black people are this. Yes, there is no problem. The same thing that I also group here. I'm not trying to single anybody out. The same way that I also said that you all voted for this present administration, that is also the same way I say it, because how am I supposed to differentiate? This is what you people always tell us, or tell Black people, or tell people that look like me. So yeah, I am going to draw the curtain here. Bye for now.